connected with that. He took an English class and completed the assignments and did some in class, a lot at home. A lot, I helped a lot at home. Math, we did at home too. Enrolled him in a Spanish class. I really liked the Spanish class because he was on the even playing field with everybody else because nobody knew the vocabulary. So it was good for Aaron. Everybody started out knowing nothing and progressed. So as opposed to English where he was farther behind, Spanish was we're all starting out with nothing and moving forward. And he did okay with that. We worked a lot at home. Everything, whether it was taught, whether I coached him or whether it was taught at school, we worked a lot, either at home or in the library. The kids liked to spend a lot of time there. They had a lot of friends at the school, so they liked to spend time there and study there. There was a lot of, we spent a lot of time going back and forth too.
Did your daughter go to this school?
Yes, she had gone the year before. It was a fairly new program. It was just starting. So she had gone the year before. She did her middle school there. So I'd had a year experience with it, and I knew how it worked. And I knew that we could be successful, and she was successful. I knew the possibility of being successful, and I was really attracted to that. I'd done a lot of years at the co-op, and it was the opportunity to take a break from all the in-class work, all the committee work, and focus 100% on my kids was attractive to me, and only my kids, and Aaron especially. I thought it was the best I knew at the time. I thought he would have a good chance to start where he was in life, in his studies, maybe, I don't know, 3rd grade writing level, and move forward from there.
So you had said that you had to help him a lot at home, particularly with math and English, academics.
Yes.
Did you have to help your daughter the way that you had to help Aaron?
No.
So was there a difference in how Aaron learned compared to your other children?
Yes, yeah. My daughter did her work. I had to push her in math. Get it done. Do it. Finish it, but she did. She did. And she ended up a year ahead by the time she entered high school. She went into a public high school and she ended up entering a year ahead in math. So I knew it was there was a chance to do well in the program, but she did it on her own.
So in this homeschool combo program, could the students go at their own pace?
Oh yes, yes, they did.
Could they go slower than grade level pace?
Yes. Eventually you would have to catch up if you want to finish. So maybe in, say, 8th grade, if you were doing 6th grade work, you did it. And you may get, credits weren't so important at that level. The credits really started at high school level, but you received credit for completing half a year's work if you did 6th grade and made progress. That was the beauty of it. Start where you are and keep moving forward. Some of the kids were, the opposite. They were doing advanced English, etc. And that was what their parents chose and then what they were able to do.
Would Aaron work ahead?
He never worked ahead.
How did Aaron work?
Aaron worked, he was very obedient in doing work, but he would do, say if he had a math lesson or an hour to study math, he would do that, and then that was that. As opposed to if you're way behind, let's say my daughter, for example, could cram and study for hours to get a test done or to be done with, this section by our SRP meeting, that's what it was called, with the instructor. SRP meeting by, next Tuesday. He would just dutifully do his section, and then that was that. That was his routine. I didn't like that. I wish he would have worked faster, but I wanted him, I knew there was an opportunity in life with him.
Did he have special education services at this homeschool program?
No. Being part of a public school program, I suppose it was available. I would have had to go out and ask the school district, but I don't know anybody who did that. There was no need because everything was one-on-one. I was, would have been it.
Did he have any of the other therapies that he'd been getting in elementary school while he was at the homeschool program?
The speech therapy, no, he had finished that. And no, he didn't do the speech therapy.
So when Aaron got to high school level, was he able to get his academic credits?
Oh, he got Spanish credit, he got PE credit. He had a lot of things that we did outside, so got occupational credit. That was easy. We did. We pulled in a lot of his scouts and things. He got occupational credit. He was in a community band for maybe 1 year, so he got music credit for that. He maybe 2 years he did that. He was. That was. Both of my boys were in that band. He started out playing a bass horn, and the instructor took him off. She said, "I'm pretty sure he's tone deaf." So she took him off of that and put him on a snare drum. And he played the snare drum for the rest of the year, but completed a year of music and got music credit for that. Martial arts was wonderful, and he did that for several years. So again, that was PE credit. We're slower and behind was the math, English, and that type of the hard basic skills, academics. He was behind on the credits on. And I was, he took an English class, he didn't take math classes. I was trying to coach him through that the best I could.
So things like, what about things like science and social studies, history?
Yeah, he did enroll in a geography map class for a semester. The history we did at home, didn't get all the credits for it. Got some English credits, didn't get all the English credits. And the math got some of the math credits, but not all the English credits. Another feature of the school was, for the high schoolers, there was a push to do Running Start, which is, finish high school is real popular. Finish high school in the college. The school district pays for it, and you get college credit at the same time you get high school credit. So that was real popular, and there was kind of a mass exodus to Running Start by the high school students, 11th and 12th grade. And he wanted to do that too. So I brought him in, encouraged him to enroll in keyboarding, and it was a bowling class that he started with in Running Start.
Did he get the credits for keyboarding?
He got a 4.0 in bowling, and the keyboarding he got a 0.7. So it was enough to pass.
But like a D is
But yes.
somewhere around a D?
Yeah.
All right. Was Aaron able to get his high school diploma? Was he able to gather enough credits?
Not a school district transcript diploma. The school issued a certificate of completion for all the kids who were exiting, but for an actual high school diploma, there was not enough credits in the transcript. I meant, as he was doing college, to take whatever college credits he could get and bring them back to the school, because they incorporated that into the high school transcript, but never did do that. It got, things got, it didn't go as planned.
Did he fail some of the classes?
At the college?
Yes.
Yes. I counted one day and he had taken by the time he was done, okay, post-high school, he wanted to continue. He was there, pretty much all the kids were at the college. He continued, he took, I encouraged him to try to take the adult basic education they had, which was good. So he could be at the college and take college level classes, classes in the college. He took a couple of those, and those were pass-fail. So he did that for a couple quarters. And then he decided to be a business major. And so he took several classes, but over the span of a few years, he took, I think there were 11 classes where he got a 0 in. And those were business classes, one Spanish class, an algebra class, one of the adult basic education classes that he got 0s in. I can't remember what else. He also did, though, have 13 classes where he did receive credit. And some of those were beyond adult basic education. They had something called Bridge, which was good for him too. He took a vocabulary-oriented class a couple quarters, and that was good, and he got credit for that and a grade. A lot of the grades were 0.7, 1.7, 2, 2.1. I think that was the Spanish lab, so he got 2, 2.1. A couple that he got a higher grade in were a couple of business 200 level classes. I think one was sales and something like that, and he got a 3 something in those. They were real, I know they worked a lot in groups, and I know in schools, groups can help. And then he had a music class, and he got a 4.0 in a music class. And I can't figure that one out. I'm happy. But he
So,
did.
you mentioned that he took a bridge class and a vocabulary class and some adult basic education.
Yes.
I want to talk with you for just a minute about Aaron's reading abilities.
Can I stop you for 1 minute? Would you stand and stretch for just a second? And then we'll continue. All right, please continue.
So I want to talk with you for a minute about Aaron's reading abilities. Did he learn to read at the time that kids normally learn to read?
He, well, I don't know what's normal. He did learn. I worked really hard before first grade with a phonics book. Worked really hard to try to get him to read before first grade. So he was doing okay with basic reading when he started first grade, because I really pushed it. And then he did okay throughout the year, but then he lagged. He lagged throughout the years after that. He did, by the time we got to high school level, they did novels in a literature class. They did, standard novels, The Pearl, Old Man and the Sea he liked, but we read them together. Answered the questions together as a team, and his reading was behind. I remember he had, I think, birthday cards around his 18th birthday, and I remember his dad reading some of them to him. So he is behind the norm in reading, yes.
Pardon?
He is behind the norm in reading, yes.
And was he able to do the English college level coursework?
The bridge vocabulary classes, he did those, yes. He didn't enroll in an English 101, didn't get to that level. Didn't, didn't enroll and went in the business route instead.
So, how did, we talked a bit about Aaron's, like, difficulty with language and expression. Up until around age 18, how was he at school in terms of his interaction with you or the teachers or the other students?
He was good. He was happy. He was liked to go to classes and liked to go be around people. He got his driver's license at 17, so he was getting a little independence from me. People liked him. Teachers liked him. Like real social and outgoing, and he seemed happy, even if he was behind. Either didn't seem to care or didn't know. I think he knew, but he didn't outwardly express that it bothered him. But he was happy with his friends and classes. He had expressed he wished to go to a public high school, to switch to a public high school at one point. And we tried to do that but couldn't get in because of the one that he wanted to go to was out of our area, and they wouldn't allow it. After we registered, they said, no, you can't come here. So we dropped that.
After he's an adult, he's moving into his 20s,
Mhm.
throughout his 20s.
Yes.
Did that remain the same?
Well, no. He started drinking later, so it changed. He was working at the range and going to college classes for several years, and that was all pretty normal, and we had a flow going. He had his job, he'd go to classes and go out to coffee and meet friends. It went pretty well for a while. I think he drank a little bit socially, but with friends, or at a party, but it wasn't anything that I worried about. It wasn't anything that caused any problems.
Was
He
able?
did.
Sorry.
Okay. He did get to a point in his job where he was getting older, so he wanted to move out. He wanted to earn more money and be able to move out. That was a good goal for him. So he was wanting to get another job. He had been at the range for several years. He started when he was 16, and he wanted to get another job, a better job. It was a great job, I thought, but he wanted another job so he could earn more money, work full time, with the ultimate goal of moving out, and that caused some frustrations.
I'm going to get to his employment in a minute.
Okay.
But I wanted to know, was he able to sit and talk and have a normal conversation back and forth with you when he was older?
Well, if we're talking about, hey, this meal is really good, like the broccoli and the this and that. And, yeah, I like it. My friend at the range gave me this recipe, and that kind of conversation went fine. If it was something more complex, then that was difficult. The back and forth was difficult. What we would do often is Aaron ask a series of questions. Aaron, what happened at your meeting? How was your meeting? Fine. Well, what happened? Did you talk to? I talked to the, say Joe. Okay, and then it would have to be a series of questions to get the information out of him. He was very sharing. He was open. He was willing to talk to us. And then the other thing was get information out of him. Or if he didn't understand something, a concept, say maybe something in, I don't know, I'll just pull out a history concept, or you could use that for an example. If he didn't understand, he would ask and say, okay, this and this and that. He'd say, oh. And that was his response. So, not knowing if he got it or not, he would respond that way, and that's his style.
Let's go back to the job at the range.
Okay?
You said Aaron started working at the range when he was 16. When you say the range, what do you mean?
Oh, I mean, Kenmore Gun Range. It's called Wildlife Committee of Washington. It's Kenmore Gun Range. The boys had started trap shooting there for fun, and then he got a job there right away as a colored trapper, where they prepared the field, and then people would come in and they took lines of people, maybe 6 or 7, out to the line, and they would keep score while they shot at the clay discs. They would run the machine, push the button, the clay discs would go out. People would shoot at it, and he would keep score, and then afterwards clean up. Not wonderful place for the boys to be. Joel got a job there later too. I was happy when he was there. There was a lot of older, retired men, some women too, who spent a lot of time there, and kind of like post office gathering. They would go there for meetings, and they would go there for recreation, and they took the boys under wing. They were really nice to the trappers. I felt like Aaron had friends who were 65 years old who would come in and tell me about what somebody said. Oh, Mike said this, or they were business owners. They were confident in life. They happy people, and I felt good. The boys also joined the youth shotgun club there, so it was all about safety. It was a good place for them to start out and participate, and they learned all the safety rules, and were under constant daily association with people who practiced the safety and liked the sport that they were in. It was, I always felt it was a good thing, and there were a lot of young men there who worked and had the same experience from what I saw.
So, did Joel and Aaron also participate in shooting the clay targets?
Yes, they did. They started out in the youth shotgun club, I believe it was called, and they did that for a couple years. Joel, particularly Aaron, participated, and he did fine. He enjoyed it. He did fine. Joel was exceptionally good. He won the league competition 2 years in a row, so he quit. He didn't even go anymore. And they would join tournaments. So we ended up traveling throughout the state. Once we went to Oregon and competing in shotgun shooting. And Joel won a lot of awards. It was good. We bought him spent money and bought him special equipment.
So, did Aaron do competitive clay shooting as well?
He did. Yes, he did.
It sounds like you've said that they went to the range for target shooting,
Mm-hmm.
that Aaron at least started working at the range. Did Joel work at the range
Yes,
as well?
he started. Joel started when he was 16 also.
Okay, so they both worked at the range.
Yes.
They both did competitive shooting.
Yes.
They took safety classes
Yes.
and were immersed in the culture
Yes,
of the
and they
range.
did hunter education too, and yes, that's correct for both of them.
How familiar was Aaron with the operation of a shotgun?
Oh, he knew. He knew how to use one, most definitely. They worked there and played there. They participated. Other people would come in to shoot on the line, they called it, and they would, during their off hours, go in and participate. He knew how to operate a shotgun. Yes.
So, did Aaron and Joel have their own weapons as well?
Yes. Yes.
And how long had they been gun owners?
From how many years and years, a young age. Joel's, he was underage, I know, when we bought the shotgun then, and I paid for it, so it's in my name. I know he was underage. Well, 16, 17, 18, 19.
After Aaron worked at the range for several years, you indicated that he wanted to do something else because he wanted to make more money.
Yes.
Did he get another job?
Yes, he did get another job. He, that was through a, temporary agency. Or LA Fitness, I'm forgetting which one came next. I think it was LA Fitness. Yeah. He, yes. He got the job and then he said, well, you need to get, he'd been there 8 years.
At which place?
At the range.
At the range, so he worked at the range for 8 years.
He worked at the range for 16, so he was,
24, 23,
yeah.
24?
Yes, yeah. And he, wanted to get the other job, he wanted to move, he, did, I wish he would have, wishing he would stay, but he also wasn't making a lot of money. I think he got up to maybe late $9 an hour, or maybe $10, 12 cents an hour. So it wasn't much, so he was unhappy with that. He's also seeming to get a little disgruntled with the range too. Unhappy there. And he said that they had done different stations. One of them was called 5-stand, which was a little more complicated operation of machinery to make the clays come out. And he said that there were some complaints and they took him off. They took him off of that job and he just did the others. So he came home and told me that one day, and that was towards the time where he wanted to leave.
Did he have a job when he left, or did he leave and then get a job?
He did. He had a job, and that's why we said, okay, you need to give 2 weeks notice. So he did that, but they let him leave before his 2 weeks were up.
Okay, so he went to work eventually for LA Fitness.
Yes.
How long did he have that job? Do you remember?
It was 7 months. And then he, again, wanted to get, it was part-time. He moved locations several times within LA Fitness. He had a friend who was kind of a mentor and kind of watching over him. And I believe that anytime there was trouble at one location, he went into another.
What kind of work did he do there?
He was a janitor. Yeah.
So after 7 months at LA Fitness, was he able to get another job?
Well, again, he wanted to work full-time. He wanted to make a lot of money, and that was part-time. And so he found a temporary agency and found some work through them. He got a job as a, they call it picker-packer. I found out later that's the term, picker-packer. And he got that, and he was working full-time. And he said he had a full-time job, so he quit LA Fitness. And then he wasn't fast enough at picker-packer, and they let him go right away. He didn't continue there. So then there was, after that, that was a continuous stream to find jobs. He did get another one, part-time, parking lot attendant at Christmas season. And then it was just a continuous trying to find jobs after that. The last one I remember was, I did the parking before his most recent one, Fred Meyer, I think it was the parking attendant.
Well, after the shooting, did you find paperwork related to job applications that Aaron had done?
There were so many in his room, and I had even given him some. People at work were telling me about, I said, do you know jobs? Because they were tied into the work source community. They said, well, they're having this open house here and this and that. So I told him, go to this. So he had applications from that. He had, I guess, Barnes and Noble, Spaghetti Factory, just there are multiple. You go out during the day and pick them up. Physical applications, not online ones. Pick up physical applications, and there must be a couple dozen that were in his room. Yeah, it.
Can you take a break?
It was heartbreaking to see that attempt.
What else did you find a lot of in Aaron's room after the shooting?
After the shooting?
Yeah.
Well, CDs. But I knew they were there.
Tell me about the CDs.
One of his obsessions, because we knew he was obsessive compulsive, and he knew he was. But he just had to buy CDs. He would go buy CDs. He would bring them home, and they were in a package in his room. I just found packages unopened, not even taken out of the bag. One or two of them, but multiple. Hundreds. There were hundreds in his room. Some of them open, but a lot of them not open, not even open. He just bought them. He had to buy them.
Before the shooting, did you know that he was buying hundreds of CDs?
Yes. Well, I knew he was buying a lot of them. I never really evaluated the sum total, but I knew that he was always buying CDs. I wondered why he didn't open them. So, I'd see some in the living room, but yes, I did know that he was buying a lot of CDs, and that he liked to, and he would go buy them. He also liked to buy coffee. He would go buy coffee, and I thought that was fine. It was a social activity for him too. He'd go talk to the baristas, and they were his friends, and he'd buy coffee.
A lot of people go buy coffee,
Yes. Yes. He'd buy coffee. I think it was social activity. I think it became a habit that he needed to do. It was one of his habits that he was going to go buy coffee. Just movie going too was another habit that he did. Friday movie going, no matter what was going on.
Every Friday?
Every Friday, he went to a movie. He said, Fridays I go to movies. If there was sometimes other things would be going on, maybe a really cool activity that I even thought he would go to, and friends would say, hey Aaron, come on, do this with us tonight. He said, no, Friday I go to movies. And so he would go to a movie by himself rather than which was fine some Fridays when nothing else to do, but sometimes there were other social activities that he didn't participate in because Friday was his movie night.
It sounds like Aaron was very rigid about routines and having to do
Yes.
certain things.
Yes.
Were there other things that he fixated on, or items that he was obsessive about? I mentioned that he paced back and forth in the kitchen and drank coffee every morning. That was one thing he did. He took several showers a day, more than one shower a day. He grew his fingernails long. I was always saying, especially on one hand, I'd say, Aaron, cut your nails. Cut your nails. Nails are long. Cut them. They look terrible. So eventually I could get him to cut them a little bit, but his thumb in particular, he'd let grow long. And then he would kind of hook his hand. I figured he was hiding it. So there was that. What about personal items? Was he particular about his property?
Yes, he had some. He even listed them for me one day, and I'm thinking these are the ones that he listed that these were special to him. His phone, for one. And so the result was his phone broke one day, so he had to go get another phone, and it was the exact same phone. He had to buy another phone. His shoes, his cologne, his jeans, and his bed. I believe the things that he named.
When you say that these are things that are important to him, or these just things that he liked, or was there something more about
Well,
it?
he meant that they were those. These are the things I don't mess with these things. These are really important to me. They cannot, I guess, change. They can't change in my life. Jeans, he bought the same jeans. The shoes, he had deck shoes. He would have to buy those. Please, Aaron, get these other ones. You know, you've been wearing the same thing for years. Did you get these other ones? You know, he would like the same ones, or maybe we'd get him the other pair and he would have them, but he would still keep his. He said he had to do it. He had to have that same routine. It seemed to not only comfort him, but he wouldn't consider anything else. Yeah. His cologne disappeared one day, and we heard about that for years.
What about his bed? What happened with his bed?
Okay. The bed. I got rid of his. I'm going to tell you the story of how I got rid of his bed. He had, as the boys were growing, we had bunk beds for them. And then Joel was out of the house at this point of this story. He was not living in our house anymore. And we had Aaron was sleeping in one of the bunk beds, and the other one was taken apart. And then we had a third twin bed. And I was trying to clean house. And I said, Aaron, let's get rid of this bed now. What do you think about getting rid of this bed? He said, and he either said, I'll think about it, or maybe one of those two. But I took that as okay, there's a possibility of doing this, so I'm doing it. And when he was at work or something that day, I posted a Craigslist ad, and somebody came and took the bed, the frame of the two bunk beds, and the top mattress, I think, yeah. And then I put the third twin bed that we had in his room. I set it up in the same spot. And when he came home, he said, where's my bed? I said, got rid of it. There's another twin bed, exactly the same. It's great. Looks better mattress. I said, I want it back. I want it back. We need to get it back. I said, I can't, Aaron. We just, we gave it away. We gave it away to somebody, and they came and picked it up, and it's gone. And he said, I want it back. So over several weeks, time period, he kept on the issue of the bed, and we tried. My husband said, Aaron, or I said, go try one at a store. Go try one and see if you like that better, and maybe we'll buy you a new bed. And my husband said, hey, we'll get you a new comforter. And he went and bought him a new comforter and a pillow. It was a really expensive pillow. Trying to make him happy because he was getting really miserable about this bed. And he said, okay, he went and tried beds. He came home, he said, okay, I did my part. I don't like it, so now you do yours, which means, get me that bed back. He just wouldn't let go of the issue of getting the bunk bed back.
How far did you go in to try to get this bed back?
Well, I started, it had been several months then, and he was just pleading. He was pleading, and I started searching Comcast records to see if I could find the phone number of the person who called that day to call him to see, I don't know, to call him and say, can we have it back? Aaron said, I'll tell him I will buy them a new bunk bed set. I'll pay for it. Just give me that back. And it's odd, but it was that desperate. I started looking through the phone records to try to find out who it was. It had, rolled off the screen, the list, so it was kind of in archives by then, and they wouldn't give me the number. The bill was in my husband's name, and even though I paid the bill every month, they couldn't give me the information because I wasn't the account holder. So I couldn't get the information at that time. My husband wasn't in the home either at the time. So I couldn't get it, and I said, Aaron, I just can't do anything about it. And then it got really weird. He said, I need it by this date. He gave me a date. I'm going to say October 20th, for example. I need to have it by that date. I said, Aaron, I cannot do anything about it. I can't get it. And he just kept after it. It got really odd, and he was just pleading. That date came and went, and we didn't have the bet. I asked him at some point later, I said, okay, well, what about it? He said it doesn't matter anymore.
Did he say it in a voice that sounded like it didn't matter to him? Or did it sound like it did matter to him?
Well, it sounded like it mattered. It was more of a, like a disgust to don't even talk to me about it. Doesn't matter anymore.
Excuse me. Would you stand and stretch for a moment, please?
Your Honor, just in terms of timing and where we're at, I'm going to ask to have Ms. Good come after lunch. Are we going to start at 1 or 1:30?
Well, do you want to talk for a moment about that? All right, your next question, please.
I want to talk about what your home was like. In general, during the time that Aaron was growing up, did you consider your home to be like a stable, nurturing environment?
Oh yeah, most definitely. We
What
did.
kinds of things did you guys do as a family?
We did. Of course, we did the school where we were all active in, mothers, fathers. We ended up doing baseball. Kids did soccer, basketball, baseball. My daughter was in music. The boys were in scouts. We were real active in scouts throughout the years. They went camping. Just a lot of really busy, active family life. Happy, fun, fishing, camping with the relatives. And with scouts, a lot of camping, and going to games. Kingdom was still in existence back then, so we went to activities. It was busy, really busy, but normally busy, like a lot of families are with 3 kids. We're young and growing, and we kept them busy and did a lot of fun things. And my husband Ambrose was involved a lot. He was leading in scouts, and I was involved in a lot of things too, scouts, and the dads coached the teams, and the kids were all friends, and including Aaron. Aaron had friends and was happy. not a star athlete in a lot of them, but he did them. He did baseball, and my husband wanted to try him as pitcher, and I said, what are you doing, Aaron, as pitcher? But he did it, and he ended up being a good pitcher. The coach said, you know, what you need in a pitcher is to do the same thing every time, and that's what Aaron can do. He does the same thing every time. So he really enjoyed that. But we did a lot. It was fun. It was good.
I want to talk about how your house was starting in about 2010 in terms of the environment that Aaron was in. Did things change?
Yeah, it started getting difficult over a while. It was brewing for a while. It was.
All right, so let's walk through this, and I know
Okay.
this is hard, Jim.
This is, yeah. There was several years where it went the other way, the other direction.
Let's talk about some of the things that were very difficult during that time period. Can we start with Joel? What happened with Joel?
It was in early 2010, and we had the bombshell that Joel was addicted to heroin. He had been using heroin. One of the cousins told us at a family party, and we had no idea. He was had been using heroin. So we immediately got with him. You know, this is the beginning of a lot of things. He got him to a hospital that night and got him into treatment just as quickly as possible. He went to Sundown within a month, as soon as we could get him in. So he went to treatment.
Janice, the air conditioner just
Oh,
turned
okay,
on.
I forgot.
It's going to be really difficult to
Okay.
use.
I forgot.
Keep it close because it's really loud.
Is this fine?
That's perfect.
Okay, so that was not the first thing that happened that year. Prior to that, my husband had been working for several years, and at age 50, he retired. It was a good money-making job, but very stressful, and he quit. He retired. But he was making over $100,000 and went to nothing. He wasn't eligible for retirement income at that point. So that was kind of the first stress that year, and there was a lot of drinking going on.
When you say drinking, who was drinking?
Ambrose, my husband, was drinking.
And I want to back up for just a second. You talked about how involved you were. Excuse me. You talked about how involved you were with Aaron's schooling. Did you work during that time period?
Yes. I had a full-time job.
You had a full-time?
When he was in school, I worked part-time.
Okay.
I worked it, yeah.
All right. And then when did you start working full-time?
Late, 10 years ago, so that was 2006.
Okay. So before
July 2006, I started working full-time.
So before Ambrose, your husband is Ambrose, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So before Ambrose stopped working, you had started working full-time?
Yes.
And then Ambrose stopped working, and that's like $100,000 hit to the
Yes.
finances?
Yes.
You said Ambrose...
Well, less taxes, etc. And yeah.
Okay. So you said that Ambrose had started drinking.
Yes. Not for the first time, but
Ambrose...
it's impactful. Yeah.
So Ambrose started drinking in a way that was impactful.
Yes.
In 2009, did something happen that, with his drinking, that got him involved in the legal system?
He probably had a DUI. Yes. There were more than one, so it was kind of a blur. But I know he had more than one. And
And did he end up having to do some time in custody for the DUIs?
Yes, he did. He had, that year that we discovered Joel was on heroin, that was early 2010, April, it was April. And then by Christmas, just before Christmas, Ambrose had another DUI and he went to jail.
How long did Ambrose go to jail for?
He was, for 14 months. He was gone, all of 2011 he was gone.
And then during this time period, we sent Joel off to go to treatment in Sundown Ranch.
Yes.
Did that treatment stick? Or did he go back to using?
He went back to using. He came home from Sundown. It was wonderful. I was so happy, and I was inexperienced with. I knew about alcohol in our family, but this was the first drug use experience, and I thought, okay, check, finished treatment. Okay, glad that's over. He's done, and he came home and relapsed. He relapsed, so he was back on it. He was back on it. So he relapsed, and Ambrose was gone. Do you want me to keep going with events?
And you have the financial problems.
Yes.
And, okay, so then, what else happened?
I came home from work one day, and Joel said, meet my friend. I said, oh, hi. His name is John. I'd never seen him before, never heard of him before. But they were upstairs, and I said, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Nice boy, I liked him. Yeah, charming. And they spent the night. And then he was there. And then all of a sudden he was living in our house. And I thought he was, wow, cool kid. Wow, you can be a good influence on Joel. I was happy he was around Joel. I was impressed. He was charming. And let him stay. Let him stay in the house. We had a room in the garage, and I said, yeah. He said, can I rent that? I said, yeah, sure. And then after a while I said, no, you don't need to rent. You just get yourself together, and then so you can get your apartment. He had given me a story about an apartment where he had problems with the roommate, and he couldn't live there anymore. And I bought into it.
Did John turn out to be a good influence?
He did not. He did not. One day I was having with my, I was having problems with my phone, and he reached his hand out to take my phone to help me fix it, and I saw the heroin tracks on his arm. And that was the first time I realized that he was, not only I knew, by then I knew what they looked like, and they were old and new, and I knew that he was a heroin addict, and I just, I really got upset, and what I did was I yelled at his girlfriend about it, because he had gone in the other room, and she had started to spend a lot of time in our house now too. And then when he came back in, I just confronted him, thinking I could lecture him out of, you need to not do that, young man. And of course, he continued.
Did something happen that hurt your family beyond him abusing?
Yes. My daughter called me one day and said, Mom, all the guns are gone out of the safe. I said, what? She said, they're all gone. They're all gone.
How many guns are we talking about?
We had 11. There were 11, and they were all gone. So he had been stealing from us while he was living there. He had accused Joel of it at first. In fact, in the police report, I think I did accuse Joel, because who else could get in the safe but Joel? And Joel was an addict. And I found out later that it was Jerron. He'd stolen the guns. He had taken
many other things out of our house. He was just, while I was gone, he was robbing us. Went through all the bedroom was kind of a storage area, so we'd gone through all that and taken a lot of things. He took a couple of computers, and old ones, but he took them. The CDs, a box of CDs, not CDs, but DVDs. I had them all organized, of course, in this nice Tupperware container, and he asked me for if I had any movies one day, so I handed him this whole box. It had Aaron's Lord of the Rings trilogy and a lot of the nicer movies. Were all in that box. I handed it to him, and I never saw it again. But I didn't think at the time to ask for them back. I didn't think that the whole box would disappear. PlayStation, jewelry, some of my husband's collector watches, things like that were gone. We found out in the end he'd been going through our bedroom and taking things. All this was happening over the time period when I was alone in the house with Joel, Aaron, and Jerron. He had been stealing. We got the police, called the police. There was I panicked and I said, we've got to get him back. Took it upon myself.
Are you talking about the guns?
Yes.
How much money in guns was that?
Joel's was 3,000 something. There's probably a couple that were 1,000 each.
So we're talking thousands of dollars?
Thousands of dollars, yes.
Thousands of dollars,
yes.
okay.
He said, we have to get them back. When you think of it now, the logical thing is call the police. Obviously, if you're still out of your house, call the police. But I wasn't thinking right. I said, we've got to get them back. And confronted Joel about it, and he said, I had confronted Joel about going to treatment before that, and he said, Mom, I do want to go to treatment. I will. I promise you I will go to treatment. I said, okay, go. And he said, no, there's something I got to take care of first. To back up a little bit. It's something I have to take care of first, and then I'll go. I will go. And it turns out what he was trying to do was he knew that Jerron, his gun, he had discovered that his gun disappeared. His expensive one that was in my name, that was $3,700, disappeared. He found some reference to it in the girlfriend's car. And so he discovered that the guns were disappearing. And how did Jerron get into the safe? That was the question. How did Jerron get into the safe? But he had access to he got the code. Living in our house, he got the code to the safe. Joel was trying to get him back.
Trying to buy back the guns?
He was trying to, I don't know how he was trying to do it, but he was trying to get them back, and that was the thing that he had to do before he got into treatment. There was a point where I gave Joel money, said get him back. Put the word out, get him back. Instead of calling the police and having them handle it, I just panicked and I wanted them back. So he was able to get 5 of them back. He got a call one day and he came home with, he had 1 before that and 4 of them, and I gave him money and spent money to get them back. Jerron said, oh, you got them back? How much did you spend for that? He asked me about it. I said, no, just a couple hundred. And then one day he left again, and he took another gun on the way out of the house. And a friend had seen him with it and called us and reported it. And so at that point I did call the police. Called the police and reported that gun missing. That event of Jerron leaving our house with a gun, stole the gun. Police officer came over to our house later to follow up on it. And at that point, I broke down and admitted that they were all missing. He was kind of upset with me. Why didn't you tell me earlier? But just because I was scared. So a lot of police activity at our house that day. There were many police cars and they were there for hours.
while we wrote reports and talked to them and tried to get information and give them information on how to get there was a police report.
So, Ambrose drinking, going to custody for 14 months.
Yes.
Loss of his income. Joel's addiction.
Yes.
And his relapse.
Yes.
John living in your house, stealing from you, selling thousands of dollars worth of merchandise from you.
Yes.
Trying to get the guns back. The police.
Yes. We had police in our house several times. It wasn't just, that was, police were at our house. I mean, that was one time. They had been at our house several times before because of alcohol. And they became a regular part of our lives for a while. They would stop me all the time, the car, because the license plate, they can tell the license plate who the registered owner is. Something about the police cars can just lock into the license, and it would say the car is registered to somebody who's not supposed to be driving.
Ambrose?
Yes. So I got stopped all the time, or Aaron would get stopped in my car all the time. Yeah, and we just say, no, it's me, and they let us go. A lot of police over several years. Eventually, when we were able to pay off the car, I was able to switch it into my name. And we did that, but we had to pay the car off first. And the same thing with Aaron's truck. I switched it. When he got a DUI, it's going to my name. Switch it to my name right now. We're not going through that again.
All right. I know there's a couple more things on this topic, but I know the court wants to take a break. So
Okay.
So we're going to take our morning recess, and we'll come back and continue with Ms. Ybarra. Can we leave your notebooks in the chairs? Ms. Ybarra, you can step down.
Sec has various other aliases such as Jonathan Ackerman, David Caprone, and locally Joey Caprone. The investigation revealed that the suspects had arrived in Thurston County this past August, where they were all engaged in criminal activity. Suspects Jonathan Bartasek has been in a domestic relationship with the victim, and the culmination of the criminal activity and the domestic relationship ultimately led to Dakota's murder. I want to commend the innovative investigative techniques and the tenacity of our detectives and our local partner agencies. Most importantly, we'd like to thank the citizens of Thurston County that came forward with the information that led to the arrest. This investigation is still ongoing, and any further information, we would like them to contact the Thurston County Sheriff's Office. At this time, I'd like to introduce Detective Sergeant Cameron Simper, who can answer questions regarding the details of this investigation.
Before he does, can you say and spell your name?
Sure. It's Tim Braniff, B-R-A-N-I-F-F, and Thurston County Undersheriff.
Good morning.
Likewise, please, Detective. Go ahead and give us your name, spell it.
Sure.
Get it right.
It's Cameron Semper.
This is Heather Bosch in the King 5 newsroom. We are switching to coverage of a murder arrest. If you would like to keep watching the trial of